Well, the people of Lyne understand, the people of Port Macquarie understand that their vote from their representative is absolutely vital as to whether we get a carbon tax or not. Now, the issue is, of course, that if Mr Oakeshott and Mr Windsor vote for a carbon tax, we end up with a carbon tax, as absurd as that is. What a beautiful day we've got here, and to think that somebody in Canberra has the power to change that, power to change the temperature of the globe, change the weather, it's just so absurd. And it's not right that people get ripped off and have money taken out of their wallet for something we can't possibly change or affect. Now, today I see Ms Gillard and Tim Matheson, they're thinking about getting married, and it's good luck to them, all the best to them. But isn't it strange how on a vital decision in their life, they get the right to a choice. One gets the right to ask, the other one gets the right to say yes or no. The Australian people haven't been given that right in how they deal with the carbon tax. This has just been forced on us. We've just read in the paper that we're marrying a carbon tax whether we like it or not. And people are not happy about that, and that's why they're turning up. Not just from Port Macquarie, but from all around our nation, because they want the choice. People want the choice to be able to say yes or no. They're not going to have this thing thrust upon them. Well, he mustn't, because he's not an elected member. So, and what annoys me a little bit, and this is not a rally about Rob or a rally about the Labor Party. I want the Labor Party to survive. I think the Labor Party is a good and honourable institution. I've got a problem with this tax. And what I say to Mr Oakeshott is their raison d'etre, their meaning to exist politically, was they always said that they'd go back to their electorate and on the big decisions get the views of their electorate and represent their electorate in Canberra. But this time they haven't. Mr Windsor hasn't. Mr Oakeshott hasn't. They didn't represent the views of their electorate when they put in a Green Labor Party independent government. They are not representing the views of the electorate when they are prevaricating about this carbon tax. And we've got this crazy little dance going on now with Mr Windsor. I've seen this before. We saw it. We know what they're going to do. It's the political form of being at the end of the aisle with a big fluffy white dress on, saying, I don't know how I got here, I don't know whether I say I do. Well, we're saying to them, you must respect the people who put you there, and the people who put you there do not want a carbon tax. And you must do the right thing and not put this carbon tax through. Really believe it, and have the dignity to give these people their choice.
Quickly, one last one. People who support the tax say it's only going to cost us around $2 to $3 a week. Is their figures wrong?
Well, what a load of rubbish. It's oxymoronic. I mean, if it doesn't do anything, then why bring it in? What is it going to do? Even though it costs you $2 or $3 a week, what right is someone to go around this crowd and say, I want $2 to $3 a week off you every week for the rest of your life? Because people say, well, what do I get for that? I say, well, nothing. Just pour it. Temperature stays the same, and nothing happens. You know, it's swindling. I've got no right to go and rip money off you if I can't deliver on my promise. And what they're promising you is they're going to change the temperature of the globe. Incredible.
Stands for Port Macquarie vote.
I think I've got enough hairs running there already.
I want to ask you a question too, Senator James Darby.
Hey, James.
There's a petition about to be circulated which calls upon the recall of Parliament. For Oakeshott seat to be declared vacant if 50% of the electors who voted for him, plus one vote, ask that the seat be recalled. This takes place in Canada and America. Do you think there's a person in Parliament who will move this legislation?
Well, I think that obviously if you get 50% of the people in his own electorate signing this, Mr Oakeshott should do it. It's not the legislation there at this present time to do that. I understand exactly how unhappy you are, and as you realise, we don't have the numbers in here to get it through. We don't have the numbers to get through the Senate, we don't have the numbers to get through the White House. But nonetheless, what Mr Oakeshott should realise is that he had such overwhelming support in this electorate. He was so popular. And then the reason things came unstuck is not that he changed, but he just failed to understand that you've got to respect the views of your own people. And he didn't respect their views, and now people feel really let down. And this is another example of precisely that.
Thank you very much, Senator.
My pleasure.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Love you, Barnaby.
I'm here with Jacques Laxale. Jacques Laxale is the founder of CATA. And CATA stands for?
Consumers and Taxpayers Association.
You've got a good sign up there, and you've organised an organisation that's really marvellous here. We have a look at the crowd out there. we'll see a big crowds gathering. It's still an hour before the actual official protest takes place. Would you like to tell us your motives for being here?
Well, basically to let Rob Oakeshott know, because this is his electorate, that his electorate don't want this tax, and his mission represented them, and he's still not agreeing to their wish, and their wish, according to all the polls, is that he does not back the carbon tax when it comes up for voting.
I've heard that there's a petition that's going to ask for a recall of Parliament so that Oakeshott's seat is declared vacant if 50% of the population vote for it. How many people do you think would register a plea to the government to sack Oakeshott through legislation?
Well, according to the polls, it would be up around 60-70%.
I think that's quite right too. Well, have a great day today. It looks like it's going to be a good organisation.
Sunday day, Barnaby Joyce is here, so all the key speakers here.
All the key speakers here. Are you going to be speaking?
No, Chris Johnson's here. Chris is the president of Capital.
How do you feel about carbon tax yourself, the new tax?
Well, the whole purpose of it is supposed to reduce emissions. The environment, supposed to help the environment, and does zero for the environment.
Thank you very much.
No worries.
Hicks is the convener of the Australian Tea Party New South Wales division. Congratulations on being the chair of that wonderful organisation.
Cheers.
Would you like to tell us a little bit about the Tea Party?
Yeah, the Tea Party, virtually our whole end is we are taxed enough already, and what we aim at is trying to facilitate groups, bring the groups together so that we have a bigger say in the real issues of the day.
A wonderful motive. I also hear that the Tea Party is looking for nominations from the public for people who have a business acumen, who are non-socialist in attitude, and would be worthwhile members of Parliament to encourage those people to enter the parliamentary life.
Yes, that's right. Even though they don't necessarily need to be Tea Party such in Parliament, we're really looking for people as members that can move ahead into politics to start making government accountable.
And these people would either stand as independents or join non-socialist parties.
That's right.
Very eminent scientist, gave a wonderful speech here today. Thank you. During the course of your speech, sir, you mentioned the legislation that is the basis of the carbon tax legislation. Would you like to tell our YouTube viewers a little bit about that legislation?
Well, it was the last dark deed of the Howard government in October 2007. And what surprised a lot of irrational scientists was that the Howard government, despite being a confessed agnostic, he was very diligent and efficient at putting forward global warming legislation. He basically laid the foundwork for a carbon tax that would come afterwards. And
is it fair to say that?
Thank you.
Is it fair to say that he appointed Malcolm Turnbull, who entered Parliament possibly for the purpose of introducing an emissions trading scheme? He appointed him as the minister to foist this on an Australian public who was unaware at the time that he was actually preparing a carbon tax for Australia.
yes, that's very possible. I think Howard's secret agenda was that he wanted Australia to go nuclear, but he didn't trust the Australian people to make that decision for themselves. He wanted to force it upon them with a higher carbon price. And that's the background to why we have the National Greenhouse Energy Reporting Act 2007.
Do you think that an incoming Abbott government will remove this legislation?
Well, the Abbott government has said that there will be no carbon tax under an Abbott government. Therefore, there is no need for that auditing basis of that carbon tax. You would get rid of it, logically.
Do you think that Turnbull entered Parliament for any other reason other than to foist on the Australian people, unsuspecting at the time, a carbon tax, carbon price?
He may have done it. It's too hard to read what goes on in that brain.
So, where are you going to take your campaign from here?
Well, I'm giving a lecture in Washington next month, and that will have. It's easier for me to get traction in Washington than it is in Canberra, I'm afraid.
Do you have a website that you'd like to give us for the YouTube watchers?
Yes, certainly. My website is davidarchibald.info, and it's got a number of my papers on it, and and presentations that you can download in PDF.
Thank you very much, David Archibald. Congratulations on that wonderful speech today.
Thank you, Mark.
Take for Australians to get off their backside, you know.
People are still comfortable, aren't they? There's still the food's on the table and the pensions are arriving and all that kind of thing. And the fact that this debt and all is all building up around them, they just seem to let it pass by. So it's somebody else's debt. Somehow or other, the government will make the money.
They can't help it, they're playing on part of Australia's character that makes us Australians, and that is, we look at the rest of the world going nuts and we go, you're crazy, you know. We used to look at Ireland and go, you're nuts. We'd rather sit under a tree in the shade and have a cool drink, you know, rather than get into this sort of thing. You know, we really need people to get off their backside.
Well, that's always the case. And you've got the unions get off their backside, get up and all these sort of things. They've got to counter it. People care enough about it. You can't get everything you want, we all know that, but we do need to be much more diligent in making sure.
I mean, we really need like 500,000 people or 1 million people outside of Parliament House, you know, making that much noise that they can't hear each other inside.
The other
you know?
thing about this is people don't understand why it's proper, this idea it warms people's hearts. Worried about the environment, worried about we all want our environment to be there and for future generations. You have a drought, that sort of like is concerned. But they don't really deal with the issues.
We've had so many...
I've got one question that I'd like to ask Julie Gillard. Very simple question. When is she going to tell the Australian people on the information that she based her decision to bring in the carbon tax? What scientific information or document did she read to go, I need to bring in a carbon tax? And if she does present that document, let's get a scientist to pull it to pieces.
Well, there are a number of documents there on climate change and this sort of thing. And but as you know, put 10 scientists in a room and you'll get 20 different positions. 10 lawyers, you get 50 probably.
Well, it was a pretty convincing argument the guy gave today.
Okay. Well, the reality is that Warren, there is no one. It's not the kind of thing you can prove like 1 and 1 make 2, is it? You know, people talking about what might happen in 1,000 years' time. Well, where are we in the cycle and all that kind of thing? And we know the world has been very much hotter in the past. It's been very much colder in the past. These cycles happen. The only issue is that 1, is man making any difference, and 2, can man fix it?
I'm here with, thank you.
Okay, see you.
I'm here with Warren Truss, the leader of the National Party. Warren, if I could ask you, you may remember back in 1973, after a very short time of the Whitlam government, over 50,000 people joined the National Party and the Liberal Party and other Conservative parties to the purpose of unseating Whitlam. Whitlam was the biggest recruiter that there ever was for the National and the Conservative parties in Australia. Is Gillard having the same effect on the Australian population?
Probably not quite that much yet, but people are annoyed. They feel they've been lied to. This is not an unclear, obscure lie. Its statement was made clearly, not once, repeated, committed to by candidates all across the country, and then just a month or 2 later, she says exactly the opposite. You can't have any credibility when you say no, 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 and then
Yes, yes, yes.
I want to thank you and congratulate you on that wonderful speech today.
well, you're very welcome. Thank you very much.
I've heard the roar in Port Macquarie when a speaker rose to speak. A roar to scare the merciless, give comfort to the young and weak. A roar that gave guidance to the wandering, gave eyes to the blind. And that was the roar of a tidal wave that's made up its mind. And ladies and gentlemen, today, you are the tidal wave that is going to change the attitudes of Canberra